Postgraduate education is all about developing your own ideas, to be more original, to be more creative, and to go into subjects in more depth than we expect from undergraduates.
As a journey, it can be one that's very independent, so this is obviously a change in a very different way of working.
Probably worth reading a little bit about postgraduate study and writing academically, just so you've got a few general pointers.
I think I would have encouraged myself to get into my reading earlier.
This ability to think critically about the material, that's one of the most important, I think, transition points for all of our students coming onto our courses.
You're much more encouraged to go and find in the literature and your reading and your writing something which is less guided.
Most postgrad students have got other commitments, they're not just studying full-time.
And also sometimes they're not socialising as much, so one of the biggest things can be feeling disconnected.
It's a work-study balance, which we say it's theirs to look after, but we can then help them make sure that things stay under control.
One of the crucial things in postgraduate education is the relationship that you develop with your tutors and particularly a dissertation supervisor.
I think there's something really important about expectations in terms of when you first meet these individuals and have conversations about what you're both expecting from each other.
Maintain contact with your supervisor.
So meeting together, setting some early goals about what you want to achieve, and I think trying to create a bit of a space for dialogue really. That's how I see my relationship with my supervisors.
Make sure you tell us the minute you feel something isn't going to plan.
You really have to listen. Your supervisory team are there for a purpose, they're expert people, they give you academic guidance and leadership, and I think you need to follow that in order to get the best out of it.
While we were doing our dissertations, we were put into study groups, and this was actually a really valuable part of the course for me. John and I were in a study group, and we met about once a month and we talked about our research and how it's going, learn from each other, encourage each other, support each other, and just start to formulate our ideas through discussion.
And that discussion process really helps you to consolidate what you've learned at university and gives you the opportunity to voice your opinion in quite a safe arena because nobody else is really judging you. We start to talk about really quite deep philosophical points where you're thinking, actually, where do I come from? What are we doing here in terms of our study? What's research really about?
It's really good to sort of just thrash out your ideas and challenge each other.
Time management is essential to plan ahead and to make your own deadlines.
All the things you could go at can sometimes just all look a bit abstract. So I try to challenge myself to task up what it is I need to do and then work kind of step by step.
Getting used to collecting references together so that you can organise the material that you're studying.
Particularly finding out when the best study times are for you.
Somewhere different, somewhere you don't normally go, changing your location each time you do it, I find that really useful.
Often we get so immersed in our studies that we forget to take time out for ourselves just to switch off. Just a few moments, just walking around the block can make a really big difference, and then you might have your aha moment and come up with something really great.
Try and keep upbeat and motivated. See it as a journey.
Don't be afraid of writing. It's essential, and we've all got different styles. It's important to develop your style of writing.
When you have an assignment to write, start writing as early as possible, because what I don't think I understood completely is about how your ideas and your argument develops actually in the process of writing.
The more you can write and the earlier that you write, I think you just lay the foundations for improving. The one thing that works for me is always having my research questions with me, so that when I'm reading literature, I'm very clear about what it is I'm looking for.
Through identifying my own positioning in my research, I've realised that actually everyone's got their own positioning, everyone's got their own assumptions and beliefs and bias. And I've learnt to actually question and look for what those assumptions are.
The key term is criticality. The writing needs to move away from being purely descriptive to a real engagement with the literature.
When I read something, I don't necessarily just think, yeah, this is written down, it's printed, therefore it's right. I'm actually thinking, why has this person chosen this piece of research? What is their motivation for actually saying, I believe this?
Learning is a transformative exercise, and actually what you're committing to doing with postgraduate study is to engage in a learning process. So it's not just about changing your knowledge of a subject or a topic, it's about how you as an individual approach issues, approach problems, approach questions.
I think that criticality is something that has a knock-on effect throughout everything you do, whether you're watching the news or talking to your kids or whatever it is. You're actually thinking to yourself, do you know what? I really do want to make sure that I am informed in this position that I'm taking. Because you're thinking, actually, what can I give back? How can I use what I've learned to influence the process and make things better?
Once you're one of our students, you're one of our students for life. We want you to publish your results so that the whole world can see what an intelligent, creative person you have become.
Conducting research and before that thinking about what research I'm going to do has been really, really exciting. It can potentially have real world consequences, however small, however insignificant. And I think to know that I'm offering something valuable, even to a small number of people, feels incredible, and I can't think of a better way to be spending my time.
At a postgraduate level, you are becoming the expert. Allow yourself to have that status and express your own thinking, your own ideas.
Having that contribution and feeling confident about that contribution really tells you about the process of becoming a postgraduate. Because when you first start, it doesn't feel like that, and now I feel like confident enough to want to tell other people about it, so presenting at conferences and publishing, and that's the process you go through, from thinking your ideas are a bit naff to thinking that they're actually really good and people need to know about this.
Through that process, I've really started to develop my own academic voice, which is something that's really, really empowering, actually.